Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. It's a beautifully sunny day. I thought I would do a little bit different video. So in the video you're watching today, I am going to be showing you what several days of springtime garden work looks like in my garden. I am located in Zone 6 in West Central Missouri, and it's the first week of May. And so this is when things really start to pick up for me. We always say it's not super safe to plant anything before Mother's Day, but Mother's Day is next weekend, and I have a lot of things that I think I can go ahead and get planted looking at the forecast. Now it is a bit of a risk because I do have hail in the forecast for today, and it's one of those things you just have to decide if the risk is worth it. They are expecting that we have a chance for 1-inch hail. I don't know if that's going to happen tonight or not, but I'm going to go ahead and get some things started. This afternoon, I'm going to head into town to a garden center that a friend of mine works at. I actually worked there the summer that Kyle and I got married, and she still works there every summer. So I'm going to head in, see her, get just a couple of things. I need some eggplant, and I looked at a couple of other local nurseries and things, and they didn't have any, and I know that this nursery will. So I'm gonna head into town, get just a few things with the kids after lunch here, and then we'll be coming back and we'll be doing some gardening, and then I'll just kind of take you along over the next couple of days of getting things ready so that this garden is completely planted out, because we're going on vacation in about 3.5 weeks, closer to 4 weeks, and I gotta have this garden done and established and ready for it to survive without me for a week. So we're gonna work as hard as we can over the next few weeks, and I'm gonna bring you along for the ride.
A lot of the work that got done this week was cleanup and maintenance, and part of that involved removing this dead ash tree. Now, we really did not want to remove this tree, but after a couple years of it slowly dying and nothing getting better, it was time. Plus, this will eventually be the site of our new farm store. We plan on putting a little shed building over here for the farm store, so the tree just had to go, unfortunately. And so Kyle got that all taken care of, and I headed out to a garden center, picked up a few things, brought them back so that we could plant them, and then the goal was to get into planting out the rest of the garden work, getting it cleaned up, weeded, mulched, and planting the actual vegetables. As you'll see a little bit later in the video, I didn't quite get that far, but I am still really happy with how much I got accomplished. And one of the other things I wanted to kind of mention in this video, just because I haven't talked about it in a while on this channel, is how my winter sowing ended up going. I've been doing winter sowing for a long time, several years now, and I've always had great success with it. But this year we had several days in February in the 80s, and my jugs started drying out before anything had actually germinated. And so I was really concerned that I would have zero success this year. And I actually ended up having a little bit of success. Now, these seedlings are not nearly to the level that they normally would be with winter sowing, and I did completely lose several of my jugs, but I'm still pretty happy that I have quite a few things in these winter sowing jugs, and once I get them planted out, we'll talk about them more, and you'll get to see them, but they need to establish just a little bit more. I really like utilizing the winter sowing method for seed starting because it's so easy and it's hands-off. I just put the seeds in the soil, in the jugs, water them really well, tape them up, put them outside, and leave them for most of the winter. And then I come back in garden time, and I usually have some pretty established, healthy-looking seedlings, and I can plant those out. And with having small children in the house, seed starting indoors is just not practical, and I don't have a seed starting greenhouse yet, so this is the best option for me. Speaking of having small kids and trying to get my stuff ready for the garden, that's really the main reason I wanted to do this video. There is not a lot of content out there that shows the realities of gardening while having small children by your side all the time. Now, there's a lot of gardening channels out there that show these beautiful gardens, and those gardeners have kids, and they do stay home with their kids or have them a lot of the time. And so I'm sure that this is part of their life, but it doesn't often get shown. And so it can be really easy to think, wow, I cannot believe that they have such a beautiful garden and their kids just leave them alone to get the work done and all that. That's probably not the case. Their kids are probably out there with them, and you just don't see it. But I wanted to show that because I want to show the realities of being a stay-at-home mom and having your hands pulled in so many different directions and trying to get the garden in. And I just wanted to give you some encouragement that you can do it. You might not get as much done in this short time frame that you set for yourself, but just take baby steps and work at it each day, and you will eventually get there, I promise.
So this video is already not going how I had originally planned. I started out the week thinking it would be a really good idea to bring you along for a full week of working in the garden. It would be planting, mulching, weeding, everything. And I started doing that on Monday. I made a trip to a greenhouse, got a few things that I wanted to pick up. I showed you a little bit of that, planting with my daughter. Well then, was it Monday night? Yeah, Monday night it rained basically all night. So yesterday it was cold and rainy and wet to where I could not really get in the garden. And today is now Wednesday. I went to the gym this morning. I'm trying so hard to figure out a routine for the gym during this time of year. During the winter, I went every weekday at 6 a.m. It was perfect, loved it. But now I don't like going at 6 a.m. because that's when it's nice and cool outside to work in the garden this time of year. So yesterday I went at 10 a.m. and the kids went into the daycare, and that worked okay. The kids don't really like being in the daycare, especially Maggie, so that was rough. So I went this morning at 6 a.m. since I knew I wouldn't be able to get in my garden yet, and it was great because the kids were still home in bed, Dad was home in bed, and I went and got my workout in and could just focus on that. And now I am here trying to figure out a game plan for this afternoon because I think it will be dry enough. It's sunny out. It's still kind of chilly, but I think it'll be dry enough for me to get out here and do a little bit of work this afternoon. So I'm going to walk you around, just kind of show you what I'm hoping to get accomplished, because tomorrow morning I planned to film the garden tour that will be going out Saturday. It'll either be tomorrow morning or Friday morning that I film that. And so I want to get a lot of this stuff done. So let's go ahead and flip the camera around and show you my plan. Okay, so starting here, I would really like to finish mulching. You can see I kind of started, but I would like to finish laying a heavy layer of mulch all alongside the perimeter here. You can see where I've added in a few plants. I'll talk more about those in the garden tour coming out on Saturday. But I'd like to get this whole area just a really heavy layer of mulch, and that'll help brighten it up. It'll help kind of distinguish the perimeter area from the yard, and it will help keep some weeds down. And then, sorry for the shadows, it's just that time of day. But I've got some green beans germinating here that we had planted, and some kohlrabi that we had seeded together in one of my other videos. And so I need to go in here and I need to get the grass pulled out, and that way the green beans have a chance to get established. Once they're established, I won't really suffer the weed issues as bad. But I need to stay on top of that while they're still germinating. And any holes where the seeds didn't germinate, I'm going to pluck a couple more in. And I'd like to do another succession. It's been 2 weeks since we planted those, so I'd like to do another succession. We ended right here for the kohlrabi and the green beans. So all of that has nothing in it, and I'd like to get another succession of kohlrabi and green beans planted. I need to come over here and do some weeding in our broccoli and cabbage rows as well. they're surviving. They don't look great, but I do think they will all pull out of it. We just really need some warmer weather, which we should have coming next week. So I have a couple of them that were broken off by my dog, but I planted enough of them that that won't really matter too much. And actually, speaking of cabbage and having a lot of them, I ended up right here where this white tag is, sowing another row of seeds because I pulled a little bit of a stupid move and I got a couple of bags of seeds wet. So I put the cabbage in here. I wasn't even gonna use this area for gardening this year, but I didn't want to waste that seed. And then I got an entire bag of sweet peas wet. So where my 2 new trellises are that we'll talk more about in the garden tour, I did a row of sweet peas and then I did some cucumbers because I really need cucumbers. I haven't canned pickles in 2 years and we're on our last couple of jars. So we've got to have a good pickle year this year. So I went ahead and added a few things in here. Like I said, we'll talk more about that in the garden tour. If I can get all of this mulching and weeding done, the next thing on my priority list is to come over here to my arch trellis and burn holes in the plastic all the way down both sides, because this weekend or early next week I would like to be planting this out. And this will be things like cucumbers, butternut squash, kajari melon, and some pole beans all down this tunnel. And then we'll leave a little bit of space and I'm gonna have 2 rows of bush beans all the way down. These are 50-foot rows, so that'll be 100 foot of bush beans as well. Really would like to have a good green bean year because I'm out of canned green beans as well. And then, and I know we won't get to this today, so this will probably still look like this in the next garden tour, but I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it because it is on my running list of chores to do. This area needs weeded and cleaned up. So this area here behind me will be all of my eggplant and okra and tomatoes and peppers and zucchini. So I won't be planting those out for probably another week or 2, maybe 2 weeks, but I'd like to get it kind of cleaned up. And it's not gonna happen within the next couple of days because I've got so much other stuff that needs to happen first, but it is on my running list. Let's head down to where I have some sunflowers and zinnias started and we'll talk about what I plan to do there. Okay, so this area here, there's just a little square that I've left, was part of where I had a lot of cut flowers growing last year. And I've decided to leave just this little area for some cut flowers. I have a lot of weeding to do. All of this rain has really had the grass growing up. But as you can see, I've already got some sunflowers coming up and a row of zinnia. I want to come in, I want to do another row of another 2 rows of sunflowers, another row of zinnia, at least 1 row, maybe 2, and then maybe some cosmos. But that'll fill this whole space. I have some volunteer sunflowers, the bigger ones there. I'm just going to leave them. But I need to weed and clean up, and as you can see, I still have some gourds that were left out here that also need to be cleaned up. So that is far more work than I can get done in 1 day, probably even 2 days before I film the garden tour. So probably not all of that will be in this video, but I am going to include as much as I can from this afternoon and maybe tomorrow. Maybe I'll try to film the garden tour on Friday morning instead. See if I can get it edited and out to you by Saturday by doing that. But still a lot of work to do. This time of year, the garden is just all hands on deck and really demanding. But once it's in, it's in. And then it's just maintaining it, weeding it, watering it, loving it, spending time in it. Until you can start harvesting it. So I'm really excited. I think that this garden is going to look gorgeous this year, and I'm so happy to be out here doing the work. So I'll probably do a little bit of like a time lapse or a sped up video of me and the kids out here this afternoon working, and then we'll see just how much I can get done. All right, well, while sister is inside taking her nap, I'm gonna go ahead and work in the garden some. Miles is sitting at the picnic table reading an animal book. and looking at all the cool pictures. Oh, Miles, you didn't close the door to the house, buddy. It's all right. Let's see, a lot of these straw bales are really falling apart. So I'm trying to grab the ones that I can still carry with the string. My wagon is full right now. Okay, let's start with that. Yeah, it is kind of cold today, buddy. It's only about, I don't know, 60 degrees.
This type of book.
You want me to help you?
Yeah. Flip it on the side. And that's what it looks like. There's these and all sorts of stuff. And I got up all the way to this one. That's how much pages I got through.
If I look like I'm struggling to move, a little bit I am. Yesterday at the gym was leg day, so I'm very sore.
Look how much crap that is.
Yeah.
Oh my.
I also slept weird, and I have pinched something in my shoulder and neck. So I'm just a mess.
It took me far longer to mulch everything in the garden that I wanted to mulch than I thought it would. I ended up spending somewhere around 10 to 12 hours this week just mulching and weeding a few rows. It took forever, but part of that was because the straw bales were soaking wet from all the rain, so they were heavy, and it was hard to get them to break apart, and they've been there since the beginning of last season, so they've started decomposing, and so it's kind of a nasty job. I didn't really want the kids helping too much with that because I didn't want them breathing in that straw, but I do feel comfortable with this straw being on my garden. I know that there's some controversy around that because farmers spraying their fields and knowing where you get your straw from. This straw has been out here and has been around my garden, and I've been growing things in it, so I know that it's okay. But yes, you could end up with some herbicide residue on your straw. That is just unfortunately one of the risks of gardening in today's world. And while I do try to do as many organic practices as I can, I also live within my means. And if that means I have to use a fertilizer that's maybe not organic or a method of pest control or whatever, I will do it just to know that I'm growing good quality food for my family. But I try my best to do it the natural way. Again, I'm using black plastic this year just to help me keep up with the weeds. So it does not have to be perfect. And I myself have fallen victim to that trying to do everything perfect mentality. And honestly, it just makes it to where it's not fun and it's not enjoyable. And so I finally have just realized, do the best you can and it'll be fine. As long as your garden brings you joy and feeds your family well, that is all that matters. And so I'm finally moving on to the next day and weeding the garden. And I was actually so proud of Miles. He came over, I was filming, and I was not planning on using any audio or anything, just basically filming to do a voiceover. And so I had set my camera up and I'd started working, and he was playing over on his little jungle gym. And he came over and he said, "Mom, can I help you?" And so I showed him, I said, well, these are what the green beans look like, and this is the grass, and I'm trying to get all the grass pulled out. And he helped me for 45 solid minutes weeding this area, and he did so good. He didn't pull up a single green bean. And when we got over to the cabbages and the broccoli, he did really good over there too. I was just really, really impressed with him. I've been trying very, very hard to instill work ethic in him and responsibility and just implementing some childhood chores, and it seems to be working. It still sometimes feels like a battle, but he is only 6 years old, and we probably didn't start this soon enough because he went to daycare for the majority of his life because I had to work outside of the home. And now that I am at home, I'm trying really hard to play catch up and instill those values. My 18-month-old daughter is already helping unload the dishwasher and doing it without being asked. She just wants to because she sees us doing it. So I think it might be a little easier with her, but I just had to stop and take a minute to give him praise because he did such a wonderful job. And back to showing you reality, you will watch me chase my daughter around the yard multiple times while trying to get the cottage area mulched in. It was a mess. I ended up not completely getting that area mulched because I spent the whole time chasing my daughter. And sometimes you just have to say, okay, she wants to play. That's what we're going to do. And we noticed Dad driving down the road with the grain truck. And so he stopped and came over and talked with us for a little bit. And I showed him some of the work that we got done in the garden. And he played with the kids for a minute. And so that was a nice break. It's always nice this time of year when he's able to take a minute to talk to us and see us during the day because he's usually so busy in the fields that we don't get to see him much this time of year. So this was a really nice little break from all of the hard work and from chasing my daughter around.
It's okay. It's okay. I won't pull your hair so you can stay over here with me. Yeah.
It always makes me smile when I watch my videos back to edit them because in 90% of the shots, my dog is sitting just right there watching me. He has been such a good... My son is introducing you to Toothless the dragon. It's his debut on our channel here. But anyways, my dog has been just such a good, faithful companion. I got him when Miles was just a few months old, and they are about the same age, and so they've kind of grown up together, and it's just so sweet to see that he's always just right there with us. But Miles is just kind of hanging out and playing while I'm trying to get this cottage garden area mulched in. And yes, I know that putting the mulch on top of this black plastic kind of defeats the purpose of the black plastic because then things will start growing through it. I plan on this fall ripping out this black plastic. I just put it in last year when I planted these things to make sure I knew where the plants were going to come back up since they were perennials and I was changing the whole layout of the garden. But putting the mulch down helps my husband know where he can mow, and it just kind of hides the ugly black plastic. So it's just a temporary solution, and eventually it will be mulched properly and there will be borders and a pretty stone pathway, but that's all going to take time. So you're just going to have to subscribe and follow along for the rest of the journey of making the cottage garden.
Well, guys, I didn't get as much done as I wanted to this week, but I did get quite a bit done, especially considering that I am pulling double duty and I've got the kids with me all day too. So I spent about 10 to 12 hours this week planting, mulching, weeding, cleaning some different areas up. I still have a lot to do, and I didn't get done with all of the mulching, but I'm pretty close. Didn't get done with all of the planting. I won't be done with all of the planting for probably the next 2.5 to 3 weeks. It'll be kind of an everyday thing. But I'm really happy with how things are starting to shape up. And tomorrow morning, I'm going to film the garden tour. So tonight, I've got to wrap this video up, edit it, and get it out on the channel for Friday, which is tomorrow. Then tomorrow morning, I will film the garden tour, edit it, and get it ready for Saturday so that you guys will be able to see that. So I'm not going to take you around and show you everything that I did because that's what I'm going to do in the garden tour. And like I said, there is still some areas that need cleaned up. But it's about 7:30 and my daughter's asleep. My son is playing for a little bit before he needs to go in and do bath time and all of that. And so I'm going to go ahead and get everything watered really well, and then it'll be ready for the garden tour. So thank you so much for spending time with me in my garden this week. I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm hoping that y'all are having a great garden year as well. Leave me a comment on some of the things that might be going well for you, some of the things you're frustrated with already this season. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video. Murphy, you're a bad boy. Make sure you're doing the whole area, bud. Oh yeah, I've still got some stuff I need to pick up.